My dear friends, welcome to the 37th class of the Bhagavad Gita. We are studying chapter 4, and in the last class, we studied from verses number 22 to 25. And today we'll start from 26. But as always, let's summarize what we did in the last class. In shloka number 22, Krishna said that man of action is free who, number one, receives with contentment whatever befalls him. And we know Master has also told us, whatever comes of itself, let it come. Point number two, one who is poised above dualities. Of course, we know dualities of pain, pleasure, health, sickness, joy, sorrow, hot, cold. So the one who can remain even-minded and cheerful under all these dual circumstances is the one who's acting in this world, and yet he is free. Point number three, one who is devoid of jealousy, envy, and enmity. So, how is it possible that I am not jealous of anybody or I do not become envious of anybody? That will happen only when I discover that others are not separate from myself, that others are a continuum of my own extended presence. Once I realize that, then automatically, against whom will I have an enmity? Who will I envy? Why will I be jealous? When if I recognize that everything is my own extended self, then there is no place for any of these negative emotions or vices. Point number four, one who looks equally on gain or loss. So now check within yourself. Are you even-minded in gain and loss? So for example, a person who is dealing with the stock market or in daily trading, if he gains some money, he jumps up with joy and he says, oh, wow, today I have gained. But the next day, as is the nature of the stock market, he loses some money. Is he able to equally take it? And of course, if he has been very excited on the day one, then on day two, when he goes into a loss, he will go into a melancholic turnover. So it is the yogi is one who can, in the face of gain and loss, try to be even-minded and cheerful again. So now let us also not equate gain and loss only in terms of material wealth. It can be gain and loss of relationship, gain and loss of one's, name and fame in the world. It can be name and gain and loss of what one thinks is the love of one's life. So of course, what your prized possessions are in life. It could be your post in office. It could be even the opinion that others have about you. All of these situations, there can be gain and loss. So can we be even-minded in both phases of these duality? So this brings us to shloka number 23. 23, Krishna says that all karma melts away for that liberated being again. So he brings in two conditions here, rather three conditions. Condition number one who is free from all attachments. So again, we know that we are attaching ourselves to the things of this world. We are attaching ourselves to people, to places, to circumstances, and then not only are we attaching ourselves, attachment means expectation, and expectation gives nothing but pain. So as long as you are clinging to the things and situations of this world, you will be not only be living in pain and sorrow, but till as long as you don't remove or withdraw yourself from those attachments, till that time liberation is not possible. Point number three, according to this shloka, point number two, according to shloka number 23, is one whose mind is enveloped in wisdom. So what do we mean enveloped in wisdom? So mostly lay people in the world are filled with ignorance of truth. What truth? The truth that they are one with the infinite, the truth that they are the soul and only temporarily living through the mind, through the body, and playing a certain role. What people tend to think is that this role is final, this life is going to be, permanently, this life should give me happiness, and they get all sad when life tends to change, which is its natural behavior. But we have not learned to accept that life will change. Therefore, suddenly we are shocked when something happens. But the one who can fill his mind with wisdom, When the light of wisdom dawns upon the mind of a seeker, then the ignorance in his mind, whether that ignorance is of one lifetime or of millions of lifetimes, that ignorance will be banished and wisdom will, like a light, will shine in the mind. And once that wisdom shines, then automatically one gets enlightened and one sees that one was always the soul, that one is always free, only appears to be bound. Okay, a very, very interesting story I'm being reminded of concerning this shloka about attachments and how we, it appears that we are very, very entangled, but yet we are not. And this is a Vedantic story, and it is about a washerman in the village and his donkey. So what happens is that the washerman usually goes out every day. He collects different clothes from various houses, and then he goes to the riverbank and he ties his donkey to the tree, and then he unloads the donkey, takes all the clothes to the river, washes them, and then he puts them again for drying. And then from there, he loads them back on the donkey's back in the evening. And on his way back home, he delivers all the clean clothes to the various households. So now one day what happens is that he collects all the clothes on the donkey, and he comes to the river bank. But he suddenly realizes that he has not brought the rope with which he ties the donkey to the tree. So now he feels that if he doesn't tie the donkey to the tree, the donkey will run away. Then not only his asset, the cattle is people's asset, and then his work will also suffer. So he is really, really confused, and he is really bothered about this situation, that he has not brought the rope and he has to wash the clothes also. So he is no really thinking about it, and he's sitting with a sad, somber face under the tree, and the donkey is there, and a wise man is passing by. So the wise man, looking at this man, with a sad, long face, he says, "What happened, brother?" And so, of course, the washerman explains his predicament to this wise man, and the wise man gives him a great suggestion. So the wise man says, "Keep the donkey near the tree as you do every day. And then, even though you do not have the rope, but move your hands in the daily action that you perform when you are tying the donkey to the tree. So perform all that, complete maneuver with your hands, with your feet and your body, and as you do every day." So, and then he says the donkey will think that it is bound. So the washerman is very surprised that, why didn't I think like this? And so what he does is he actually takes the donkey exactly at the same place where he puts him every day. He performs the various actions which he does while tying the rope. And then the donkey is standing there. He easily goes or takes the clothes, washes them. And then, he comes back and he loads the donkey. And then he wants the donkey to, go back and deliver the goods. But the donkey refuses to move. So the donkey is not moving anymore, and the washerman has done his work, and the sun is setting. He has to deliver those promised clothes, and so on. Again, he's so shocked, and he's surprised as to what he should do, and is confused. Then again, he's sitting with a sad face, and by chance, perchance, as the stories always go, the wise man is also returning from wherever he had gone in the morning. So when the wise man comes and he sees again this man is sitting with a sad face, and he says, "Now what has happened?" And then, of course, the washerman says that, the donkey, I tied him as you told him. Now he is not moving. What do I do? So then the wise man said that now you have to perform the maneuver that you perform every evening. So you have to perform the action of untying the donkey from the tree, and then you will find that the donkey will move. And of course, the washerman does the same. He performs that same acting, and he removes the invisible, non-present rope is untied from the tree, and the donkey is seeing all these actions. And then once the entire action is finished, and the washerman tugs on the donkey, and the donkey starts to move. And of course, the washerman is able to deliver his clothes, and he is then able to do his job. So this story depicts a lot of important things for a Vedantin. So what does it tell us? It tells us that it only appears to us that we are bound. It only appears to us that we are this body, we are this prana, we are this mind. Because of the hypnosis of the cosmic power of Maya, we are always the soul, but yet because of the variety that we see around us, and because of that, the rope of the senses, what ties us to this, the tree of imagining that we are this body and mind, the senses tie us. So the senses make us believe that all of this is, different solids, liquids, gases, different people walking, different colors happening, different actions are happening. And that ties up to the delusion that all of this is separate, and then I must do various things in this world to get my happiness, and I must achieve this and that, I must have many desires, I must hold on to the things of this world. But when by wisdom, so when wisdom dawns upon the mind, then suddenly you realize one day that it was only a hypnotic attachment. Your soul can never be attached to anything. Your soul can never die. The soul, as we studied in chapter 2, it can never be killed. It cannot kill. It cannot be burnt. It cannot be wet. It cannot be entangled in anything. It is ever free. We all as souls are ever free. It only appears because of the cosmic Maya, because of our own habit tendencies. It only appears to us that we are tightly bound. So this is the ignorance. And then the guru comes in our life when we are seeking the truth, when we are very sad, sitting under the tree thinking, I am bound, what do I do? Then the wise man appears in our life. The guru comes and he tells us, oh, perform such and such maneuver in yourself. Do these yogas, do meditation, do the breath work, and you will find that the attachment was only an illusion, that you were always free. So getting back to our shloka, so it's a wonderful story that, illustrates that how appearance can become so convincing. Okay. Verse number 24, Krishna said that the oblation is Brahman, the offering is Brahman, the fire is Brahman, the one who is giving the oblation is Brahman. So, and by realizing this, the one who is absorbed in Brahman goes to Brahman alone. So once one realizes, so as we said in the previous shloka, that when wisdom dawns in the mind, so when wisdom dawns in the mind, then automatically you realize that everything is spirit. Everything is that one Brahman. It only appears, or it is only different frequencies of vibration because of which things are appearing to be different, and also because of the limitation of our senses, that things are seen in the world as they are seen. But once one realizes by meditation, by pranayam, and by mantra, or the various methods have been given, then one realizes that it's all is one, that all is spirit, and I am an inseparable part of that spirit. Shloka number 25, this started with, this starts with a series of what yagyas a person can perform. And of course, the classic yagya ceremony we know is offering some sacrifice or an offering into the fire. So in the next shlokas, starting from 25, Krishna explains to us what kinds of offerings can we give, and to which fire, what is the fire which is being explained here in different shlokas, and what is the thing that has to be offered. And we will understand this one by one. In 25, of course, he said, talked about two types of sacrifices. The first type of sacrifices, he said, some people sacrifice to the gods, to the deities, astral deities. And then Master explained that the deities that are being talked about are the governors or the principal causes of the causal, astral, and physical worlds, both at the macrocosmic and the microcosmic level. And then the second part of the stanza said that then one can offer the little self into the fire of spirit. So the little self, the ego, can be offered and should be offered as and surrendered into the fire of omnipresent spirit, on recognizing that the ego was nothing but a deluded soul bound thinking that it is the body and mind. So once that wisdom is dawning upon us, this also knowledge we gain that the ego is actually also an illusion, and therefore you are able to surrender the ego. But of course, this is not as easy as it is just said in a statement. This is what takes lifetime lifetime, rather lifetimes of self-effort, because it has taken us millions of lifetimes to actually descend into the state where, having been identified with the ego and having developed so many desires and attachments, untying all of them can take some time. But of course, it is going to give us bliss if we are ready to, if you want, and if you are ready to make that effort. All the effort will be paid back, and we will attain that bliss. It is possible for each one of us to find that bliss, to find that freedom. And in the following shlokas, the yagyas that are suggested, we can do any one of them, or we can do all of them, and we can be set free. So we come to shloka number 26, chapter 4. Shotradindinindriyanyanye sanyam agnishu juvati shabdadina vishayananya इंद्रयाग्नेषु juvati. कुछ भक्तजन अपनी सुनने तथा अन्य इंद्रियों की शक्तियों को आंतरिक संयम की अग्नि में आहुति के रूप में अर्पण करते हैं। अन्य भक्तजन ध्वनि एवं अन्य विषयों का इंद्रिय रूपी अग्नि में हवन करते हैं। Certain devotees offer as oblations in the fire of inner control their powers of hearing and other senses. Others offer as sacrifice in the fire of the senses sound and other sense objects. So now, what is being suggested here? So again, this has two types of sacrifices. At the first level of sacrifice, what is being said is that certain devotees, certain yogis offer the power of their senses into the power that is actually enlivening. So the power of spirit. And so they will do pratyahara, means they will interiorize the power of their senses, interiorize the current, interiorize their attention from the sense organs inwards towards the spine and upwards towards the brain and into the cosmic fire. The second level of yagya or offering that is being suggested is that there's the certain devotees who will actually offer the sense objects or the sound, for example, in hearing, into the power of the sense organs. So let us understand this clearly. In very, very simple terms, let us understand what is the process of gaining data from the senses. So let us say there is a sense object, means there is some object which you are seeing, or let us, since hearing is talked about, let us say there is a speaker in your room, and from there a sound is emanating. So the speaker is the object of the sense. The sound is also that is emanating is the connection between the object of the sense and your ear, and the ear drum is reverberating with the vibrations that are emanating from that speaker, and then those vibrating the eardrum that has nerve endings, and therefore afferent nerve signals from the eardrum go inside the inner ear. They vibrate the inner ossicles, and from there the currents go into your brain, to the hearing area of the brain, and then your brain manipulates that current to form a certain, it intellectualizes and forms a certain a data. In the sense, it says, okay, this is that kind of sound. Okay, this is a drum playing, this is the violin playing. And then another area of your mind comes into play, the emotions, which say, I like it or I don't like it. And if you like it, maybe then your mind brings in willpower, and it brings in your organ of speech, and then you start to sing along with that. Okay, so this is the basically sequence of things, that how the data is being transferred. So now converting the medical part into the yogic part. So again, the sound from the sense object is coming into my sense organ, is being, that data is going to the mind. Then the mind itself, manas in the yogic science, it will not analyze, it will refer to the intellect, and then the intellect along with the chitta will decide whether it is nice or not. And then of memory will also come in and tell me, and it will tell the whole mental system that, okay, this is a pleasurable memory, this is an unpleasant memory, and then accordingly you will act in this world. Either you will desire that object, or you will, repel that object, something like this. So now what sacrifice is being told here is, is at two levels. So first sacrifice that is said is for the one who is who's a monk or a nun, or who has developed deep into the spiritual path. So for them, what is suggested is directly pratyahara, means inwardness of the power of the sense organs. So for something like Kriya Yoga or something like a deep meditation technique, what that will do is it will withdraw the energy that is flowing to the sense organs, and that withdrawal will then actually deactivate the functioning of the sense organs. So in deep meditation, that is why the yogi is unable to hear anything, even though the sense organ is there, even though the sound is there, even though the object of the sense is there. Even then, the yogi is not perceiving any sound, because he has interiorized those nerve impulses, he has interiorized his attention and energy towards the brain. So that is the first sacrifice. So he is sacrificing all data that is coming from the outside world and is turning it inwards and giving it, offering it to the inner fire of cosmic wisdom. Now, the second part of the sacrifice is for the householder. So the householder cannot say, for example, in a monk's life, monk will say, I have no mother, I have no father, I have no brother, no sister, no spouse, no children, I have no profession. And therefore, he is easily able to go into pratyahara and interiorization. But for the householder is living with parents, living with spouse, with children, in amongst all the sense objects. He has to live that life, which is, of course, more difficult than the monk's life in this sense, and yet he has to be able to not be affected by the sense organs and the sounds or the other faculties in different senses. So even in the midst of the worldly life, what this householder can do is he can kind of disconnect from the sense object and the organ of the sense. So he can offer the sound into the sense organ. So what do I mean by this? So let us take a couple of examples. So for example, if there is a person who is a diabetic. Now, a diabetic person has been told by the doctor that he should not be eating sweets. So now the sweet is lying on the table. So at what the householder will do, I mean, just to corroborate with the shloka, the first step is he will not look at the sweet. So he is denying the sense object. So he's removing the object of the sense so that his mind doesn't go into delusion. So that is the first level of control that the diabetic is saying, that let me not bring sweets into my house, or let me not put it on the table so that I won't be able to see it. That is the first level. The second is there are sweets at home. But by this time, the householder or the diabetic person, he has developed sufficient control to say that I know that having this sweet is going to land me up in trouble. Therefore, even though it is in front of me, I refuse and I deny myself and I control myself. I will not have this sweet. So he is sacrificing. He is sacrificing the current that is going towards the running out towards the sense object. He's saying no. He is restraining himself. So the horses of the chariot are being restrained. He says no. Neither. So first step, I will not look at the sense object. Second step, even though sense object is right in front of me, I will not have it. Now, the third step, which we said in the previous part of this stanza, for the monk, or all the householders will also eventually become monk-like, is that he is not even attracted to the sweet. The sweet is there, and he is restraining himself, but he is not having any trouble restraining himself. He knows that he doesn't need the sweet to make him happy. So that there is so much interiorization that even in sitting in the mithai shop, he has no urge to even look at it. So, and he's not forcing himself to say, I'm not going to have it, I'm not going to have it. Oh, my mind, please control yourself. I don't want to have it. So he has so interiorized himself that he has no urge, even in the midst of all sense temptations. He has no urge to even look at it. And he knows that all this sense objects and all the interaction is like poisoned honey. Wisdom has dawned upon him and he doesn't need it anymore. And the other example we can take is of an alcoholic. So a person who is an alcoholic and wants to get rid of his addiction is, again, the first step would be that he should not bring any bottle of alcohol to his home. Or even if it is at his home, he should not be able to see it all day through. So he doesn't make it visible in front of him. So what the first step? Remove the sense object. So that is one level of sacrifice. The second is that even though the sense object is in front of you, you will control your mind and say, this is not good for me and I don't want to have it, or I will try not to have it. But of course, the mind will create havoc because there is a habit pattern. Memory will come in. Memory will tell him, oh, this alcohol, you will feel really good and light and easy and nice and happy once you have this alcohol. So the memory will come into play. The habit pattern will come into play. So the householder is making now sacrifice at two levels. One is that sense object is not around him, or even if it is around him, he is sacrificing the energy that is going out towards the sense objects. He's controlling it at the level of the sense organs. He restrains his mind and sense organs. Now, at the third level, which is for the monk and or the household holder turning into monk, is that he has interiorized his energy and attention so much that he has no urge to even take a sip of the alcohol. In spite of the alcohol being right in front of him, and in spite of his vision running out on the sense objects, but he has no urge because one, he has interiorized the attention. Number two, he has neutralized the feelings in his chitta. By regular practice of yoga, by regular interiorization, not only pratyahara, the yogi from the pratyahara goes into dharana, dhyan, samadhi. So having practiced this movement of energy and attention, he is no longer having any urge to go towards any sense temptation. So I have labeled a sweet and an alcohol, but sense temptations can be a variety. We know there can be sexual temptations. We know there can be sound, touch, smell, all kinds of temptations are there around us. And it is up to us now understanding the sequence of events that make us trapped into this sense world, and understanding that how we, by turning inwards and by turning towards God and by practicing yoga and pranayama, how we can actually control the senses, we can control the mind, and how we must offer this energy which we are using in this world back into the fire of spirit, going back from the object to the power of the sense, to the mind, to the intellect, and back into, through the thousand petal lotus, into the cosmic fire. So this is what is being said in this shloka, and both these levels are important. The very important master says, beautiful, just listen to this very carefully. These are words by Paramahansa Yogananda. He says, the advice in this stanza is especially fitting for people who are already married and entangled in the world, and who cannot seem to escape from their confinement of material harassments and thus find peace. Any human being, in whatever circumstance of life, is empowered to make this sensory sacrifice to the Lord. The grandest purpose of life is not to know human love, or to produce children, or to win acclaim from men. Man's sole worthwhile aim is to find the everlasting bliss of God. So this should be hammered into our brain. We are always running after the things of this world, opinions of people, after our children, creating more children, and even to know human love is not the aim or the purpose of this life. Then Master says, the best way of life, even today, is to live in a hermitage under the discipline of a true guru or man of God, pursuing active duties for the good of all, never egotistically desiring the fruits of action. However, there is no reason why those who are already married should remain entangled in worldly consciousness, feeling spiritually bereft with no hope of finding God. Human love, desire for praise, fame, money, food, material possessions, mental acquisitions, and so forth are all tests of God for the true devotee. God has everything already. He wants to test the devotee's heart. Does he prefer God, or does he prefer the gifts coming from God? When a devotee satisfies God that he is not shaken by any temptation, nor willing to accept as a final good anything less than God himself, then and then alone, no matter what the devotee's outer circumstances, the Lord reveals his face in all its endless glories. Wow, so beautiful. So this is a promise. So the scripture and the guru are promising you that if you can come to that point where you are not looking for all these worldly things that he just listed, and you are looking for the creator of all these things, you are looking for the one who out of his love has created you so uniquely and so beautifully and has made you experience this life. It is, of course, because of delusion, we got so attached to this world that we got sorrow out of it. That is true. But that sorrow was also a form of God's love calling us back home. So this scripture is now promising us, the Guru is promising us that whoever is able to withdraw from this world, having, even though living in this world, yet on the inside, withdrawn from it, and then offering himself, offering his powers of senses, offering his mind into the cosmic fire of spirit or back to God, that person will be immediately free. That person will be immediately able to experience the glories of God, because God, because by his own grace and love, will reveal himself to such a devotee. Shloka number 27. सर्वाणीन्द्रियकर्माणि प्राणकर्माणि चापरे आत्मसंयम योगात्मा योगाग्नौ जुह्वति ज्ञानदीपिते। पुनः दूसरे भक्त ज्ञान योगी इंद्रियों तथा प्राणों की समस्त क्रियाओं को ज्ञान से प्रकाशित आत्म संयम योग रूपी अग्नि में आहुति देते हैं। Again, others, followers of the path of Jnana Yoga, offer all their sense activities and the functions of the life force as oblations in the wisdom-kindled yoga flame of inner control in the self. So this shloka is particularly pointing at the path of Jnana Yoga to the Jnana Yogis, that how they offer every thought of the mind in contemplation of the vast infinite Brahman, of spirit, of God, and how they offer all their prana, all their, so in whatever meditative technique they are doing, whether they are Kriya Yogis or whether they are doing mantra jap or whether they are in fact involving themselves in some outward selfless service, in whatever ways a Jnana Yogi is working on the outside or the inside, his main aim is to find out in every activity, behind every activity, in and through all actions, that one infinite vast Brahman, which is his own true self. But Master says here that, in his explanation, he says the path of Jnana Yoga is not so easy. To contemplate all the time that I am Brahman without going through the first initial steps of purification of the heart and mind, one is not going to be able to reach there. In fact, it is said that for a person who wants to go on the path of Jnana Yoga, wants to go towards Advaita Vedanta, should have certain qualifications. There are many qualifications that are set out on the path of Jnana Yoga. And what are these qualifications? Let us just name them. The first is, viveka or discernment between true and untrue, between what is mortal and what is immortal, what is light, what is darkness, the real and the unreal. The second qualification that you need is vairagya. You need detachment from this world. We need to remove all the clinging away from this world and withdraw into ourselves. Then the third qualification is actually a subset of 6 qualifications, and these are Shama, Dama, so control of the mind, control of the senses, then Uparati. Uparati is withdrawing yourself from useless worldly actions and using that time and energy into an inward life where you are contemplating on the infinite. The fourth sub-qualification in point number 3 is Titiksha. Titiksha, we know, is forbearance, is endurance, being very, very patient with everything that happens to you and being even-minded under those circumstances. The fifth is Shraddha. So you have to have faith. When we are reading the Gita, we have to have faith that the Gita is going to lead us to moksha. When we are following a guru, we have to have the faith that our self-realized guru, the teachings and the techniques that he has brought are going to make us free. Unless we have that faith, how are we going to even progress? So because without that faith, our heart is not going to be open, and without the heart's love, no spiritual gain is going to happen, not by the intellect alone. So you have to have the heart. For the heart, you have to have Shraddha. It's very simple. Some people say, oh, I don't have Shraddha. You have in different ways. So, for example, when you go to college and you enroll yourself for a degree program, don't you have faith that the books that you're going to read are going to get you that degree? Don't you have faith in the teachers that are, teaching you? And or are you going to keep doubting? Or you doubt that, oh, all these books, I'm not sure if they are going to get me my degree. All these teachers that are coming, I'm not sure if they are going to take me to my, graduation or my whatever degree I am following. And I'm doubting the whole infrastructure of the teaching, and I'm doubting the books, and I'm doubting the teachers. And will I really actually gain any knowledge if my behavior is like that? No. When we enter a particular stream of knowledge, we automatically trust all the teachings that is coming to us. Then why not on the spiritual path? So similarly, you have to have the faith that whatever text that you are reading, especially, known texts like the Bhagavad Gita, and whatever teacher, the dearest teacher, that your savior has come into your life, and his teachings are going to be that raft. The guru is going to be the boatman, and the teachings are going to be the raft on which you are going to free yourself riding over the ocean of delusion. So unless you have that Shraddha and the openness of heart, and you have removed your doubt, till then the spiritual path will not work for you. And the sixth sub-qualification, point number 3, is samadhan. So samadhan means a focus of mind, a single pointed attention. And we know this is required for meditation. We know this is required for contemplation. And then the fourth main point amongst the qualifications for Vedanta is mumukshutva. Mumukshutva is the intense desire for freedom. It is the yearning for truth. How intense is your yearning for truth? Are you happy living in the world of delusion? I'm sure no, because that is why we are in this class. Because you know that everything in this world eventually proves out to be a false hope. It is like a dead end. It doesn't give you the happiness that it promises. And therefore, we are yearning to know the truth. From where does my true happiness come from? Who am I? From where have I come to? Where do I go? What is life and death? What is the purpose of my life? So, and I want to be free. I want to feel eternal love. I want to feel infinite bliss. It is my birthright. And that is mumukshutva. Be restless for God. Be restless for truth. And there's a beautiful thing. If you actually have the fourth qualification, all the previous become easy. So if you have intense desire for God or intense desire for truth, then what will happen? Then automatically you will be able to do shama, dhamma, means control mind, senses. You will want to forbear. You will want to be even-minded. You will have the heart to understand the teachings because you are so thirsty for truth. And you will go into one-pointed concentration. You will automatically develop vairagya from this world and anurag for the Lord. You will automatically start, once all of this is in place, viveka will come in. Automatically, the difference between the real and the unreal will start to dawn upon you. What is it that's going to stay with you? Once you leave this body, once you leave this world, then what is going to stay with you? You come to that viveka. What is worth attaching yourself to? What is worth not attaching yourself to? Leaving everything which is not useful, which is not going to you, with you, are beyond the portals of death. So you develop that viveka and vairagya automatically. So if we have that love for God and that mumukshutva for truth, then everything else, will fall into place. So coming back to the shloka and Master's explanation, Master is saying that yes, the path of Jnana Yoga is difficult. It is not for everybody. And that's what he says. Let me just read what he says. He says, Jnana Yoga is not so easy as it seems. Its drawback is that it ignores the scientific method. So by what does this mean? Of course, if you say this to a Advaita Vedantin, or if you say this to a Jnana Yogi, he's going to he'll come out with all his swords, and that debate will begin. But what Masters is saying here is simply the scientific method of control of the senses, the scientific method of mind control, and all of this being performed with the science of pranayam, breath control, prana control. Now, because techniques like Kriya Yoga give you a scientific step-by-step manner to be able to control the prana and therefore to withdraw from the senses and therefore to control mind and to bring chitta into the neutralization of the vrittis. Because this is a step-by-step process, therefore it is relatively easier than Jnana Yoga, because Jnana Yoga is more abstract. Simply that. And of course, but he himself has said that the Jnana Yoga is one of the way. And he explains in his explanation the path of Jnana Yoga, which we have all read and heard many times. The path of Jnana Yoga involves Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. So Shravanam means listening over and over again. And Mananam means contemplating on the truth of the Upanishad, truth of the Vedas, the truth of the scriptures. You contemplate upon it. And Nididhyasanam is meditating upon it, means going so single pointed that you kind of assimilate and absorb and you become what you are reading or hearing. So all of that, this is the path of Jnana Yoga, and there are many people around the world who do practice this method of enlightenment. But yet it may not be for everybody, and it is definitely not easy. But of course, if you have the temperament and you feel inclined to go this way, then Master has opened the door and the gate for you. And eventually one must realize that even the Jnani has to end up with bhakti or with love of God, because there is no progress on the spiritual path. Wisdom will not dawn upon if love is kept away, because love is wisdom and wisdom is love. God is love and love is God. So bhakti and jnana somewhere will eventually meet and actually are two sides of the same coin. And we should not consider them as very, very different paths. But yes, from the starting, because we are dealing at the egoic point, therefore they appear to be different paths. And according to our temperament, we can follow any one of them. And but all the great yogis, including our line of masters, they encourage us to do all the four yogas. By all the four yogas, what do I mean? I mean bhakti yoga. So we have this devotional love for God. Then there is karma yoga. That means we offer ourselves into devotional service to the Lord, service to the children of God. Then we have Jnana Yoga, where we also listen and we contemplate upon the teachings. And of course, fourth, we have Raja Yoga or Dhyana Yoga, where we meditate. So when we involve all these paths in our daily life, we incorporate and inculcate them, then our realization becomes very, very fast. Okay, so this brings us to the next. Okay, before I go to the next shloka, Master has talked a little about Kriya Yoga here, because in comparison to Jnana Yoga, he has mentioned certain specifics, which I will read here. But of course, we have to take in these specifics with a pinch of salt. Why? Because you will just understand as I read this. Okay. By controlling the life force, as is accomplished in the performance of the Kriya Yoga technique, the yogi can assuredly gain a state of divine ecstasy. So far, so good. By the perfect performance of Kriya, 1,728 times in one posture, that is at one time, and by practicing a total of 20,736 kriyas, a devotee can reach the state of samadhi. Okay, so this is the pinch of salt that I was talking about. So all those who are new to Kriya Yoga, you are not to exceed the number of kriyas that you have been given. Now the numbers that are given here, of course, they are mathematical formulas. And I was just calculating that when he says 1,728 times in one sitting, means it actually means 16 malas. So 16 times 108 beads if you use, that is in one sitting, he says, and of course, total also he has given 20,000 something, then you will attain samadhi. But is our body ready? Is our astral energy body ready? Is our mind ready to take so much of kriya practice or so much of meditative practice? No. Therefore, we start where we are. So Master has mentioned these numbers. We know it, but since we cannot handle this much of energy, we cannot put in this much of time. Therefore, knowing these numbers, we put them on the shelf, and we continue with our sincere practice. The problem with us is suppose we are doing a particular number of kriyas, just ask yourself, are you doing them daily? Are you doing them twice a day? If even that is incomplete, then how can you imagine and wish that one day you will suddenly be able to do 16 malas in a day? That is not going to be possible. So we can slowly work up our meditative practice. And yet 16 malas has been mentioned. Very interestingly, I was studying books from other traditions, and even in the ISKCON tradition, the Hare Krishna tradition, Prabhupada has said that a person who is initiated into their line of bhakti marg must do at least 16 malas a day. So again, the number is matching. It's very, very interesting. All the paths refer to the same maths, to the same physics of the body and biology of the body, and eventually everything comes down to you yourself. And there are certain numbers in the universe which are in sync with these. For example, the Gayatri mantra is a certain matras. All of them are in fixed mathematical formulas. So of course these numbers have a significance, but since our practice is limited right now, our understanding is limited to an extent, therefore we will take one baby step in at a time, and we will slowly upgrade our practice. We will slowly go towards this direction that master has given to us. Okay. So then of course, the warning and the caution disclaimer now comes. He says, but Kriya cannot be practiced so many times by a beginner. When the body and mind of the Kriya Yogi are adequately prepared to accommodate the high voltage of so much Kriya Yoga practice, his guru will advise him that he is ready for the experience of Samadhi. So that's why in his poem Samadhi, he says, by longer, deeper, guru-given meditation comes the celestial Samadhi. The guru knows exactly when we are ready for any higher experiences, for other states of consciousness. And we have to, just as we said, we have to have Shraddha, we have to have faith that he will hold our hand, and he, day by day, as we practice, he is going to give us experiences, and he is taking us to that final state of bliss that we are really, really looking for. By Kriya Yoga, one scientifically marches towards God, quickening his evolution by step methods and by a greater or lesser number of correct practices of the Kriya Yoga technique. The adept Kriya Yogi concentrates the ecstasy-producing power not in the numbers, but in each Kriya. Now, here is a very, very important guidelines for us. So instead of, calculating in the mind, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm doing so many numbers now, 108, now 2 malas, now 3 malas. No, he has said that I do a couple of kriyas and I go into samadhi. So it is each meditative act, each session, and each kriya is important. You have to really go deep into your practice. Are you doing your practice correctly? Are you doing it regularly? Are you doing it sincerely? And are you doing it with love? And are you making it as a nishkam karma practice, not expecting anything in return? All of these will determine how deep even a single kriya practice can take you into your deeper states of consciousness or higher states of consciousness. So don't be, really excited about the numbers. He's saying go deep with each kriya that you do every day. In Kriya Yoga ecstasy, the body is perceived not as flesh, but as the electro-lifetronic energy. The body, thus realized as life force, becomes one with cosmic energy. So beautiful. Okay, now this brings us to shloka number 28. Dravya yagyastapo yagya yoga yagyastatha pare swadhyaya gyan yagyascha yataya sanshit vrata. अन्य भक्त धन, आत्म अनुशासन तथा योग की विधियों की आहुति देते हैं, जबकि दूसरे व्यक्ति आत्म संयमी तथा दृढ़ व्रति, स्वाध्याय तथा अर्जित शास्त्र ज्ञान की आहुति देते हैं. Other devotees offer oblations, wealth, self-discipline, and the methods of yoga, while other individuals, self-controlled and keeping strict vows, offer as sacrifices the study of the self and the acquirement of spiritual wisdom. So basically, this stanza continues to enumerate the sacrifices that we can do. And herein come a number of things that we can offer back to the infinite, because we have received all of them in the first place from the infinite, including this body. We have received all the experiences of this world, all the energy, all the intelligence, all the body activities, all the food that we eat, all the learning, everything we have received from the infinite. So what is it that we are going to offer back into the infinite to complete the cycle and to go back home? And these are the list of things that Krishna has said in this stanza, and Master explains. So point number one, he says, some devotees properly use their wealth or material resources to help others as an offering to spirit. And that is why this is a universal truth. This is not only to one cult or one sect or one religion. In every religion, tithing has been like a duty of the devotees. Almost every religion says that you must be offering about 10% of your income into some religious activities, into helping others. Now, it's okay if you, of course, 10% is it may be a high number for some, but some people are doing. And whether it is Christianity or it is Islam, whether it is Hinduism, whether it is Buddhism, or whether it is Judaism, in every tradition, it is said that you must give back to God in the form of wealth. And we must ask ourselves. And wealth is very amazing that the money that you earn, you should not see it just as money. It is energy. So what you are doing when you're offering money is that you are offering energy back. And that energy will enable other people also to come to the path or to see the light. Just as you have been brought to the path, if you offer your money or your possessions in some way, in whatever ways you want, then that will shine the light like a foghorn at the sea, at the beach, at the sea, which is guiding the ships home. The other souls who are wandering, if your money is used correctly, other wandering souls who are seeking truth will see the shine of the light from these spiritual centers, and they will be attracted to, and they will come back home. Will this make God happy? Of course it will, because we have read in the Bible that how Jesus says that even one lost sheep, if even one lost sheep comes back home, there is a rejoicing in heaven. There is a rejoicing in the astral world even when one lost soul comes back home or even turns Godwards. So then it becomes our duty, because we have been helped. Immensely, we have been helped by our spiritual journey, by the Guru, his teachings, the path. And therefore, it becomes our duty to pass the baton and to help others to come back home, to see the light and to walk on this path. So therefore, giving money is one of the ways. And Swamiji beautifully he said that the real donation comes in when you start to feel a little uncomfortable about the donation. So if you have a lot of money and you're giving, let's say 500, I want to give 500, and it doesn't pinch you at all. So it is better to give more when it slightly pinches you, because that is where the tapasya comes in. That is when your heart wants to cling to it, but you are saying this, I want to sacrifice. So it's a good way to understand that, are you really sacrificing, or are you just giving the excess? For example, if you're giving clothes to someone, are you only giving the old tattered and battered clothes which you don't use, which you have discarded, or are you really taking out something which is precious to you and then giving it away, which will have more value? And we all have enough common sense to know which will have more value. So therefore, you have to judge according to your own life. There is no imposition from the side of religion. It is your own personal, love for the divine and an offering from yourself that you can make in any which way that you like. But the Gita says this is one of the ways as to perform yajna or to offer. The second, he says, is that ascetics will perform tapasya in the form of austerities as oblations. And of course, there are many people who perform different types of tapasya. There are yogis who will live in the forest, living in the mountain, living a simple life. But as Sri Yukteswarji said, the tapasya for the urban householder is the practice of patience, sabr. Have patience in everything that happens to your life. So patience and titiksha go together. Be very patient, be forbearing, endure all difficulties, and keep your trust in God. The third offering, he said, is the eightfold path of yoga. When he says yoga, then automatically means the Ashtanga yoga. So what do we mean by offering Ashtanga yoga? Is when we practice yam and niyam. So when we are practicing the restraint of the mind and the senses, when we are offering our devotion in Ishvara Pranidhana, when we are controlling our breath with pranayam, we are sitting in asana, we are focusing in one pointed, giving our one pointed attention, we are offering all the silly, petty joys of this world, we are leaving them away. And we are saying, no, I want a higher bliss. And therefore, let me, bring in all my energy. Let me offer my energy. Let me offer my time. Let me offer my intention to the part in me that will eventually take me to bliss. And then he says another type of yagya, as given in this shloka, is one who reads scriptural wisdom, meditates on it, and with a self-controlled mind, and strictly applies the scriptural injunctions in daily life. So what we are doing is yagya. It will become yagya more if we just don't listen to it and close the book and close the laptop, but we actually contemplate upon the scriptural injunctions, we meditate on them, and we live that life. We must make the Gita alive in our life. Whatever is Krishna is saying to us, that should become a living reality for us. Then it will be considered as a sacrifice. Thus, he gradually learns to offer the oblations of his self-study and intuitive scriptural knowledge into the fire of spirit, because even this knowledge, everything is coming from the vast spirit, and whatever knowledge comes to you through the guru, through the scripture, you offer it back and you say, that, and it helps you to absorb or dissolve into that, the cosmic spirit, and that is a kind of a sacrifice. But this also comes with a warning. Knowledge of scriptures is beneficial only when it stimulates a desire for practical realization. So if the scripture is saying that you should meditate, you should meditate, you should meditate, and you have heard, oh, I should meditate, and then somebody meets you and tell him you should meditate, and you yourself are not meditating. So it is a waste. If you of such a beautiful sacred knowledge, you are wasting if you are not converting whatever you have heard into your daily practical life. I will end by reading what Master says here. He says, the kernels of truth in the scriptural sayings are covered by the hard shell of language and ambiguity. We know the shlokas in Patanjali Yoga Sutras or the shlokas in the Bhagavad Gita. Can an off-road, a person just read it and understand it? No. You have to have intuitive wisdom for it. How will you have intuitive wisdom if you do not meditate regularly, if you do not follow the teachings of the God-realized Guru that is there in your life? Through the help of a guru, one learns how to use the nutcracker of intuitive perception to open the verbal shells and obtain the divine manna within. With that thought, and with gratitude to the Guru for opening up our inner eye of wisdom, for opening our heart so that we can understand Krishna's words. With that gratitude, we share the love, the blessings, and the grace with all souls everywhere. Let us pray together. Divine Mother, beloved Krishna, thou art omnipresent. Thou art in all thy children. Manifest thy healing presence in all bodies, all minds, and all souls. Divine Mother, beloved Krishna, great Gurus, May thy love shine forever on the sanctuary of our devotion, and may we be able to awaken thy love in all hearts. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.